Little Ghost could be a massive problem.
Well, it's not even just Little Ghost. This is going to be the rest of that team, as this is pretty much the best wrap they have to them, right? Just if they were just to go in the circle, there's really not that much cover, and it's all downhill. As Himas is going to find one, but the nade's coming back. Tycon getting absolutely bombarded.
While this is happening, it's going to be Twisted Minds to hop in their vehicle, cut across. That means that DK is going to be distracted by that. Gustav's got to turn back around, opens up more opportunities for the Cerberus Petrichor road fight to start to take off. Uba's still back behind it. Molotov going to be right on top of Tycon, but not going to be enough to even, it's going to be uncomfortable, let's say that. 17 Gaming now making their flank down into the Falcons, and it is just going political for them right now.
Xiaobei getting a nice knock. Yeah, the 17 just kind of picking apart Falcons, but they're going to run into FaZe. Jeeves going to find a knock on to Xiaobei. Little Ghost also going down, but that is it for FaZe as well as the Falcons.
We aren't quite done yet. Cerberus trying to regroup, and 17 just trying to run, get ahead of the blue zone, manage to pick up their teammate, have managed to get ahead of it as well. Petrichor Road has got an eye on what's going to be going on with Cerberus. While this is all going to be happening, Uba's going to go down to the blue zone. We have a fight that's kind of starting to take off between TE as well as SRM into the northeast, but there's a lot of moving factors that are happening down in the south. What happened with Twisted Minds as well as DK had one of their members go down on Twisted Minds, it slowed them, and you can see with the blue zone coming in, 17 can't even stop. They've just got to run the entirety of the way and wait to try to met up.
Xiaobei's been picked up like 3 times by Suju now, just trying to find somewhere where he's going to be able to res him, but on the other side of this Petrichor, they're about to peek over, and I think just get rid of 17 off this match as you kind of mess with coming up on the west side of the hill, making up that crest. But a lot of the teams, I'm glued again to the northeast, man. All those teams in the compound as we see Twisted get eliminated.
And it's going to be 17 that outsurvives them, but not for too much longer. Spray is going to come out from Petrichor Road, who down inside of, what was it, a second ago, they were down in what? In that 14th position, I believe. Finally starting to find some life for themselves, as it looks like they're finally finding themselves the road to victory, or at least a couple more points.
And Tycon now equipped with that SLR, just running face first into Deva. He's going to go down as well as Himas.
Oh no, SRM's going to make a quick rotation right into Tyloo. Good defended position is going to be lined up as, looks like they're throwing out smokes to block
blue zone right there, I believe.
Looks like, yep, we're going to go ahead and get a couple of shots into it, and yep, blue zone's going to come up right back behind him, and now Tyloo Shin going to use that opportunity, creeping in. 3 members down for SRM. It doesn't feel like there's too much more to go. Global Army, you got yourself some big plays, but it's going to be significantly outnumbered, even though you are an army in and of
his pocket. Tyloo has gotten rid of Sarvam, and now look at the Expendables, Matt. They are making the push. They know this is their window of opportunity.
Expendables so hot right now as they're going to creep out of this one. Know exactly where to go. Delwyn drops a nade right on top of Longs. With this, they're going to have so much freaking control over the circle. Petrichor Road trying to come up back behind them, taking some shots. If anything, it's just kind of forcing this a bit more.
But Petrichor, they're going to actually be able to crest right over this and see this fight and potentially take a lot of damage, or put a lot of damage onto the side of the Expendables. Not to mention, D plus Kia has been quiet on the south.
Xiaolong's doing a great job of staying alive, doing some damage. He's finally going to go down, but that opened up the opportunity for Petrichor Road. Axlif, Mill, moving.
Going to lose because that third party, especially from a full 4, or excuse me, not a full 4, 3 members of the Expendables here on the west side of this should be able to get a good vantage point on the teams that are about to fight.
And Expendables, while they did lose a tire on the vehicle, still gets them exactly where they need to go, is they're going to get the crest and the hillside to work around. Petrichor Road's Mill still staying back and kind of keeping an eye on what's going on in Tanvu, but not too much more happening out of this. This hill is kind of given each one of these teams, it's almost more like a pyramid than it is a hill with the way that it's kind of set out, as it's created sightline blocks for each one of these guys to give them their own areas to play from. But it looks like DK is wanting to lean far more into the TE sightlines now.
And D plus Kia has just been honestly so passive in this game, in this circle, and it's kind of been their MO so far. I would have really liked to see them get a little more aggressive when they had the opportunity to. Now, obviously, it's staled out, but yeah, they had the chance to maybe get some frags there, and they just kind of lost it.
There is a risk with the Expendables getting control of that center point, having Duck Juice hop inside the vehicle and move in, as they could end up pinched in this one with the way that we see Petrichor Road's line come out on that eastern front, and now we can see that DK is trying to get more control over the south. If a fight breaks out, TE is going to be probably the one being shot at, and they're going to have to deal with flanked positions on one side or the other.
True, but I still do like 777's position as he is that anchor point, but Mill is laser focused on his position right now.
Yeah, this is Summer now also making sure that nothing goes on with Kia sneaking up back behind them. Mill, slow and steady, wins the race right now. Is just, it's a commitment, right? This is almost more of a mind game and a game of chicken, is we're not even into phase number 9 yet.
No, and the reason why none of these teams want to fight again is because of the fact that the first team to fight is going to get third-partied, right? And so they want to be the ones that are initiating that third party, not the ones that are getting, you know, third-partied on.
See a lot of smokes now starting to come out, and it's just an eerie set of silence. It's just settled onto the battlefield right now, and if anything, that just amps up the anxiety. You don't have good vision on what's going on because the hillside, every bullet is the way you can place what's going on around you, and that's about it. And with nobody really taking shots, you just kind of have to assume you have an idea on how they're moving based off of how you know the map functions.
And as a player, this is very nerve-wracking, right? Because you're looking for that angle. You want to make sure that you can maybe watch all the angles that your team isn't, especially if you're an anchor like 777. But again, the waiting game was always my least favorite. I would much rather be in the thick of a firefight rather than waiting for the circle to close, waiting for another team to make a mistake.
The longer it stays quiet like this, it's just going to continue to mount, add more pressure. Every tree just becomes that's going to have a person behind it. Every dip in the hill, you're having to double check, triple check, because places you checked before, somebody could have snuck into that position already. You can see TE now starting to be a bit more mobile. Mill did move out of his position, wanting to play still into that southeastern corridor. That the one section of the hill that they have control over is now TE starting to make much more of a defensive line in the south, as Petrichor Road is also making that commitment in the south. And so now it's not TE that's being the potential of pinched, it's Kia.
Look, and again, it's just the passiveness of D plus Kia it's a little baffling to me.
I mean, and this one, I don't know what else you could potentially do, but it's the quiet little bit of information that you get also means that you're probably also going to reveal something and potentially kill yourself.
Yeah, and as you said, they've pretty much not stopped at all TE from just getting closer and closer and closer because they're just afraid to peek over that ridge.
Here we go, Blues coming in. No more time to be passive. You've got to make something happen. Throwables coming out, and it's going to be DK looking up this hillside. Summer, the rest of the crew now starting to look in. Nate is going to get some damage, but not enough to determine what's going to happen next. DK with that little bit of damage, though, now starting to eye back into the Expendables line. Expendables still holding them right there. So much of what we're going to be looking at is going to be hinging on what's happening with Duck Juice and his defensive line against Petrichor Road. Tanvu, Delwyn also moving. Get vision, get the knock into one of them. But now with that, they should be aware of the flank and how it's going to be happening. Petrichor Road should be using this opportunity to start to creep up the opposite hillside, and that's what they're going to be doing. Duck Juice has got to defend that to the best of his capabilities. Tanvu on to Summer. That's going to open up the door. The duo over here for the Expendables trying to make it happen. At 11 kills, they want even more. X-Flip's going to go down, and it is just Mill looks back down into this one, and